Hey guys, what's up? You're listening to Sit Down with Stand-Ups this week. I got a really talented comedian with me here. You may have seen him on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and he was the lead marmoset for Rio. Ladies and gentlemen, Francisco Ramos.
Yeah, I was the lead marmoset in Rio. People always ask me, like, which monkey were you? I'm like, the one that talks.
Yeah, the main one.
Yeah, it's like there's like millions of them that just make noises. If I would have got hired for that, then I'm like, all right, I gotta change my my agent or something.
Yeah. Well, how did you even like come across? Did you do a lot of voiceover stuff before, or was that one of the first ones?
No, that was the first thing I got ever, like in terms of like acting or voiceover or anything like that.
That's awesome.
I was still working in my day job when I went to audition for it, and you know, it's one of those things that, I went up. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. This is all instinct when I auditioned, my one funny thing was like, because it's in Rio, it's in Brazil.
Right.
When I first got the sides, I remember I was practicing and doing all the lines in like with a Portuguese accent.
Yeah.
And then when I got there, the guy was like, "What are you doing?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm doing the Portuguese accent." It's like, "No," he was like, "Just do your normal accent." It's like, "Just do that. You already have an accent." It's like, I think people in the U.S. are gonna make a difference between, oh no, actually that's not a Portuguese accent.
Let's thicken it up a little bit.
Yeah. So
that's so funny. Okay, I wanted to play a clip from it. How many like takes did it take? Were you there for just a day, or?
I recorded 2 days, one year apart from each. Like I went in for the first day, and I recorded like my I actually came for 2 roles. It was 2 roles, and then I did one with other. It was like an improv scene with like Carlos Ponce.
Oh wow!
And then Jeff Garcia. So I was like,
awesome. So you're in the same room together.
In the same room together. Okay. So we were just doing the whole thing, and then they left, and then I did the voice for the monkey.
Yeah.
So then when I did it, the director, he was like, "Oh man, I really like what you did with the monkey." And after that, I think they kind of like kept it like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna do the monkey one."
Okay. And
then a year later, I came back for ADR. Which ADR is just basically when, like, after it's been shot and you can see the drawing and everything.
Okay, right.
Then they just want to match the lips and stuff like that. So I went in for that, and I could see like the scenes, and so I recorded some new scenes, and then I recorded like other, the same scenes that I've worked at, So basically, but it was 4 hours, 5 hours each, the 2 times that I went. So it's pretty quick,
Yeah.
It's not a...
That's really exciting, though.
It was great. This is the first time I was doing anything like that. So just to be there, even going to Fox Studios and just going there and, like, walking
Simpsons and Family Guy.
Yeah, I remember I got picked up in... they sent a driver for you and stuff like that,
That's awesome.
Things. Yeah, it was cool.
Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah.
That was my other question was, did you know that you were going to be the marmoset when you came in, or did you just kind of go in and talked and try some different voices, and then they were like, well, you'd be perfect for this?
Well, I knew I was gonna do the monkey one when I came in the first time, but so before, when I auditioned for several parts, monkeys, birds, and all this stuff, and then I went in for the first time, the first recording session. It was one to be like one of the one of the handy guys, or one of the dumb guys, yeah. And then the monkey, and then so I had a voice for the monkey, and then I had and the voice for the monkey was something that I don't know how I came up with it, whatever.
Just came.
I just
well, let's listen to a little clip right here.
Yeah.
Hello, boys. Seems like you've had a busy day.
What, this? This is just some stuff we found.
There are 2 blue macaws out there, and I need your multitude of eyes to help me find them.
Oh, yeah? What's in it for us?
Well, that's a fair question. Let's discuss it. I certainly see your point, but what could I possibly do for you in return?
Save me! Save me!
Oh, well, that's a thought, yeah. But is it enough? I don't want to feel like I'm cheating you.
Help me! Help me! We'll do it! We'll do it! Save me, please! Save me!
All right, you've twisted my wing. Deal. Now then, any more questions? Go do your monkey business.
Yeah, that was like I remember I had to record that because that was the ADR when I was falling.
Yeah.
So I had to like go like.
I was gonna say, how do you like you're doing flips in the thing?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean that was just like
noise?
going like just watching the thing and just making and then when it was falling just
It's so fun. Yeah.
You know, and it just and those little things that you don't notice. It's like you have to record it. Like, all right, do this. When you fall, when like and this and then and whatever. You know?
Yeah, like the breathing and stuff.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
so cool.
yeah.
And who was the cockatiel right there?
That was I forget what's his name. The guy from Flight of the Conchords. Jermaine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
nice.
he was great, and I met him in the premiere. You know, and I was like, hey, and I came up to him. It was like, look, I was the monkey.
Right next to you.
Yeah, you know, by the way, I'm the monkey. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, and then we started talking. He was really cool.
That's
you know?
so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you record those separately.
Yeah, I never, like I said, that I only met, Carlos Ponce and Jeff, because we're in the same scene. But
right.
all those things are shot. Like, I know, like, for example, what's his name? The guy from the Facebook. What's his name?
Heisenberg?
Yeah, he was recording
Jesse.
Rio. Yeah, Jesse. He was recording Rio while he was shooting Facebook.
Oh wow!
Like that Facebook movie.
Yeah.
So he would. I think he was shooting during the week, and then during the weekend,
just all voiceover stuff.
All the voiceover stuff that it was in where he was. He wasn't even going to.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I've heard like stuff like Dan Castellaneta. He'll just record in New York and
yeah.
go over to Simpsons and like just over the phone or something.
Oh yeah. And I think after you're set like that, it's like that's what happened with Eddie Murphy too. Like I think when he did the last Shrek, he was like he did it in his house in like one day.
That's so cool.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Well, let's go back. So you're from Venezuela originally.
Yeah, I was born there.
You were born there, and you moved to Maryland. Is that correct?
Maryland, yeah. When I was 12, 13.
12, 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you know you kind of wanted to do comedy? Was it like around then, or was it much later?
No, it was definitely much later. I moved there, I think, just moving into a different country without not knowing the language, I was just
that
a little
pretty
kid.
rough?
Yeah.
13,
that was, yeah. I mean, it was tough because I got in, my mom put me, in a small Catholic school, private school.
Yeah.
They didn't have ESL or anything like that to help me. So it was just me sitting learning basically by myself, in the back of the room, for the rest of the 6th grade. It was like I felt like I was a monkey, just basically just like
so that's where it came from.
That's where it came from. I think that's why I drew my experience from that,
That's so
But it was just me, and then finally after I started 7th grade, that's when I first started like learning, learning English and
watching some stand-ups maybe.
Yeah, but stand-up, that all happened after I graduated college.
Okay.
That was like after I graduated college, because when I finished my last semester in college, I was like, I started realizing, I don't like what the hell is this? I don't like what I'm doing. Yeah. So I started thinking, what do I like to do? What do I like? What's my passion?
You were always kind of funny around your friends then.
Yeah. I was always funny. I was always making fun of people. I was always like, just come up with jokes and impressions, and and always the stuff that I would like to watch was all like comedy shows,
right?
And stuff like that. So I was always inclined to that,
How about your parents? Were your parents like pretty funny?
My dad was very funny.
Yeah.
He was very he was so good at doing jokes, like the typical,
clean, just pure jokes.
Yeah, just pure jokes, like the ones that takes like 5 minutes to get to the punchline, but they're funny. But he was really good at that.
Yeah.
He come up with that. So he was very charismatic and stuff like that. So I think I got a lot of the humor from him,
That's
so
awesome.
My mom was, she's very quiet, whatever.
Yeah.
But nothing.
It's a good balance.
There's a good balance of it, but yeah.
Because I know, my parents are from Iran, so we both have, foreign parents, and sometimes I've heard, other countries, the sense of humor doesn't translate into American humor. Some countries don't even have sarcasm,
Yeah.
So they take everything very literally and stuff like that. So obviously, Venezuela and all that,
Well, Venezuela, I think Venezuela were I think it's one of the countries that is they still say, I think there's a thing out there or something it's one of the most happiest countries in the world. And
I read that, yeah.
And it's the most fucked up country right now,
Yeah.
But and that's the thing about the Venezuelan people, they just laugh at everything, something happened, hey, like they just tell the story of like, I got kidnapped, I start laughing about it, like, I got kidnapped, and this guy, and then I knew the guy, it's like, what? But they always make a joke out of it. So I think that having that person, having that humor sense, like I had it within me, even when I moved here, it was always there. And I think it just made it easy to kind of like, okay, I want to do, I always liked that. I was like, even when I went back home, like, oh, it's just the making fun of everybody, just like you riff with your friends, and you have to be really good, because if not, then you're fucked. Then you're like, then you're like, you better be quiet, because until you start making fun of everybody else, So it was, I think that in terms of translation of jokes or ideas, I think that, of course, the humor was different, or is still a little different. But in terms of just being funny and having that thing, it's the same,
Right. Yeah. No, that's very interesting, because Iran is like, I feel like a lot of similarities where it's like, it's, right now it's a terrible time for both of the countries, and people will just get together at a coffee shop or something and just crack up, and outside, it's on fire or something.
Yeah,
and it's like,
what?
It's
like nothing.
There's humanity in that. So.
Yeah, I think it's like, and I guess it's more of a human way to just, in a way, deal with the problems, like, might as well, it's like, well,
it's coping mechanism.
Let's just joke about it,
Yeah.
Okay,
what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So then you were in Maryland.
Yeah.
What was that like? Was it like, were you like in the city, or were you in Baltimore?
I was actually in the outside of DC, which is now called like the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia. Okay. So I was like 30 minutes from DC. I was in a town called Bethesda, and then I moved to Rockville, which is right there, So
pretty like suburban.
Yeah, it's very suburban. Right. Like now when I go back home, I'm like, oh, how the fuck did I live here? So like green, I'm like, why is so much green here?
Back in the country.
Yeah. I'm like, this is like deers walking around. I'm like, God. But yeah, it's very very suburbs, very like typical house, like the whole thing, the yard. We used to live in a corner yard, which I had to mow the lawn. And it's like, it was like, I don't remember, like, it was like, it took me like 5 hours to fucking mow the lawn of the house. Because, of course, I would take breaks and stuff like that, but I was like...
You were living on a golf course?
Yeah, it was, I know. It was like putting the green, Jesus.
That's so funny. And then, so you were in Maryland until you were probably like 18, and then you went to college in D.C.?
Yeah, I went to college in College Park. So
okay,
I graduated, and then I went to College Park, and I majored in finance and international business. And I think, because of the whole, culture thing of like,
I did the same major.
Yeah. It's like, that was the thing that I was like, because when I graduated, I was like, okay, I guess I have to do what my parents tell. I mean, and it wasn't that they told me, you got to do this, but it was always like, well, I guess that's business.
Respectful to do that.
Yeah, it was kind of like...
I'm not going to go do dance.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing. It never came, that never...
Right.
It was always like, well, business. When people would ask me, but it was always because my dad or my parents subconsciously, not even they told me, but it was always there.
Right.
So then I of course, went into school, major in finance, international business, and as I'm saying, that's the last semester of when I graduated. I was going to take this class, which is called security evaluations, and that's what I thought I wanted to do, like really wanted like focus on in finance. And when I took it, I was like, the first day, I was like, I hate this bullshit, I cheated my way through it, like the whole semester. And that's when that's the first time I started thinking, like, what do I want to do?
What else?
Because I think the whole life, it was always like, I never thought, like, on my own. It was always, like, what I was supposed to do.
Right.
In terms of, like, what my parents would want me to do, or what society wanted me to do, or family wanted, or friends wanted me to do. So the first time I actually stopped, I'm like, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
That's when I started going like, well, okay, I like, that's where the whole idea of being a comedian happened,
Was that kind of like a tough transition? Because it's like you're kind of lost.
Of course. I mean, I think we were pretty similar, because it's like we grew up in a different... It wasn't like it was nurtured to us to like, hey, be whatever you want to do, or be, it's like, so we
grew whatever you want to do as long as it's lawyer, doctor, engineer.
yeah. Be whatever you want to do as long as you can follow this chart right here. Yeah. Everything else we don't want, But no, it is tough to be like, to go from like, all right, you grew up in a way of like, and how everything was supposed to be, and like you gotta get the job, and then get an MBA, and then get married, then get divorced, and then try to kill yourself, but then it didn't work out, and then you remarry again. Nah, fuck that. You know, I saw my whole life. I was like, okay, I don't want this. I know like if I keep doing this, you know, when I'm 40, I'm gonna kill myself. You know, like or contemplate about it. It's gonna be a failed suicide, but I still like, you know, Francisco, he tried to kill himself. So, but yeah, so it was tough just to go from like, you know, forget everything and just, you know, do what I want to do. You know, that was the toughest part. You know, it was like, it was kind of like moving. Now that I see it, it's like when I moved to LA, it was kind of like me moving from Venezuela to U.S. for the first time. It was like another new way, like
to learn a new
thing, a new language,
right?
A new, you know, like comedy language or the artist language.
That's a big transition too, from suburban to like L.A. Crazy city, and then you came here to do, well, your day job was still finance. Yeah,
because I mean, I realized I was like, I'm always being like.
At that point though, were you just like, I'm gonna do this so I can? Was comedy right away?
Oh yeah, I mean, I moved specifically to do the whole comedy. You know, in the beginning was improv. Right. You know, but like to do comedy. You know, like because I took improv classes in the first time in DC. That's the first time I won, like, you know, because Whose Line Is It Anyways was very popular back in those days, and I was like, I really like watching it. I was like, well, I'm gonna take one class. I never taken any acting class or anything like that, and I took it. And it was I was like, man, it was like natural. I was like, man, I can do this. You know, I was like, I'm pretty good at it. And then my first show, I was like, I was nervous, but then when I did it, I wasn't nervous. I was like, and that's the first time.
First laugh?
Yeah, and I got laughs right away.
It's
and I was
shocking,
like,
right?
Yeah, and I was like, damn, I like, it's like that. It's like getting, I don't know, I never done heroin, but I guess it's like the first time.
It's the same
It's like, yeah, give me some of that shit. And then I was like crying in the bathroom. Yeah. But yeah, like once you get that, I was like, man, I think I'm, and to me it was also the thing that I really noticed was like I wanted to do it again. Yeah. Like I was like I wanted to get better at it. Everything that I did before my life was always like I would do it, then I would get bored. Right. And then I'm like, all right, next. Yeah. I'll do this, bored, next. This one's the first time I was like, no, I want to do more and I want to get better. I would stop and go party anymore and all this stuff. I would like, you know, just to go do intern at this improv place and all this stuff, you know, just to get better at it.
It's so funny because I feel like just like normal people and like, you know, parentheses or quotes, like when they see like, you know, it's serious. They see you on stage for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes and like, oh, this guy's really funny, but like it's a job. It's a full time.
It's a job. It's like, just it's a job that's like it just you don't have hours, right? You know, you don't get paid monthly or every 15 days. You know, you don't have insurance. You don't have. I mean, but it's still busting. But it's still a complete. Like, I mean, it's a. I think it's even a harder job. I mean, it is a harder job because you're doing it for no money or little money, and then also you're working 24 hours a day. Exactly. You're working weekends. You're working days that you normally work, you know.
You're commuting and doing all this stuff.
Yeah, all this stuff. It's like people think like it's just getting up, doing there for 5 to 10 minutes. It's funny when every time people tell them like, oh, I'm doing. So how many shows do you do a week or whatever? Do you like no, almost every day. I get up every day. Yeah. They're like, what? Like, you know, it's like.
It's a hobby.
Yeah, like it's a hobby. Like, I would just play golf. Like, this is not golf.
And then I'm funny, you know, for an hour out of nowhere.
It's like and it's funny because everybody that's like, or like sports or art, like, they do it all the time. Yeah. That's why they're good.
If you're an athlete, you're an athlete all the time.
All the time. Tiger Woods is not fucking doing it. You know, well, right now he's pretty sucking much, you know, but
it's a back thing.
Yeah, but you do that every day, every time. That's how you get better, you know. It's a job.
Yeah, it's so funny because it's like this little magic thing where the comedian comes out and he does this bit here and there, and then everyone's like, "Oh, well, that guy's just great." And you don't realize like that guy is dedicated 10 years to that one joke.
Of course, and that's where you see if you're a good comic or not, where it comes across like that, where you actually do it and you're like, it looks like you just made it up. You just made it up right there. Yeah, that's where a real comedian comes and the magic of comedy comes, where like. You just see it like, oh, it's like the first time he said it, you know.
How long have you been doing stand-up now?
7 years.
7 years?
You know,
Okay.
7, yeah, like 7.5 right now, yeah.
That's like
So-
the time that like everybody says. Like I think Jay Leno says like if you could be in this business for 7 years, then
Yeah.
You're in it
Alright.
forever.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Somebody told me that too back when I was still working at the Comedy Store.
it's
Like
like
a
when you
while
find your
back.
voice.
Yeah,
7
I
years.
guess it. Yeah, and I mean, the cool thing. I mean, for me, like I always judge it in terms of year, or like every year, like am I getting better? Have I done better gigs, or have I done better stuff? You know, just to see the improvement.
Yeah.
That's how I think you should judge yourself as a comic. You know, in terms of like, especially when you're starting. I think once you're solidified as a comic, then it's another thing. You know,
Right.
like that's your, you know. But when you're still, you know, getting up that ladder or whatever, you gotta keep saying like. 'Cause to me, I always saw that when I first started, because I was like, look, if I'm doing the same thing I was doing when I started, you know, like still doing the same open mics, then it's like, all right,
Maybe
then,
it's not working.
then
Yeah.
it's not my thing, you know.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to tell yourself that, or to even tell somebody that, because that's their
That's your
dream.
dream, yeah. And you
you
told
know.
everybody you were gonna be a
And
comedian.
yeah. So I mean, but I think, you know, you gotta be realistic too in some way, you know, and
Yeah.
you gotta see what's working, or what you're good at. It doesn't mean just because you can't do stand up doesn't mean that you can be in the comedy business.
Mhm.
You know, that's
Yeah.
the thing. Is like
There's millions of things.
there's
you
millions
could
of
do.
things you can do. You can be a writer, you can be a producer, you can be a director, you can be a host, you can be a manager, agent if you want, you
Right.
know, whatever it is, you know. But you just gotta find some people, you know. I think it's like you do have to be realistic in some ways. Where like, okay, I know I have the talent for this. I know I don't have the talent for this.
Yeah.
I know I'm good at this, and you know, it's hard, it's tough. But I think you gotta be true to yourself too.
Yeah.
You know?
You can't delude yourself in your dreams. But
No.
I really enjoy your comedy because I could tell that you know a lot of it just comes from personal stuff, and you know it's not just like random observations. Like if there's like I can feel like the character behind it and everything like that. Like how much of it do you just like pull from just every
It's
day?
100%.
100%?
Everything that I do, it's from base of stuff that happened to me, that I saw happening. You know, that's two things. I mean, I don't think I can do comedy that if it hasn't happened to me.
Right.
If I haven't experienced it, you know, either firsthand, or I did it to somebody, or I saw somebody do it to somebody, you know. But I gotta be there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's amazing how people, when I do shows, they come up to me and they're like, "So you're really from Venezuela?" I'm like, "Why would I make that shit up? Like, why would I pick? I mean, if I really wanted to go the Latino route, I guess I would pick Mexico just to be a little more popular. But like, why would I make that I'm from Venezuela just to do a joke about Venezuela? You know, it's
This
like,
whole voice is a character.
yeah,
that
like,
developed.
yeah, I don't really have an accent. It's like, come on. It's like, but it's amazing that people still think like you come up with. I
A
mean,
lot of people ask Drew Lynch that. You know the comic.
oh
that
yeah, about
stutters?
the stutters. Yeah,
Yeah,
like.
and it's like, dude, he act like that's how he just talks. Like
Of
it's not. A
course.
big,
Why
would
he
you ask?
You know, like, yeah, it's like he's gonna do the stuttering thing for, like, you know, like, it's like,
Oh, I got a great idea.
yeah. Let me stutter. Oh no, you know, no. I think you gotta be true as a comic. You know, like, I think that's where the connection and the realness comes. I mean, I think that's where the good. I mean, if you see the greatest comics, are the ones who, you know, they take from their own life.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, even Seinfeld, for example, who's like, you know, very observational, it's still his point of view on those observations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like he still lived through every little thing that he talked about. You know, he flew, so he talks about that. He, you know, even those stuff that people relate, which is another thing that you have to do as a comic.
Right.
You know, but you have to talk. You know, I think.
Yeah, it's
I
much more believable and like relatable.
Yeah,
like, right
I just
away.
can't tell. Even like, you know, like my sister, for example, or friends, they tell me a lot of stories that happened to them. Like, oh, it was so funny this trip, and we lost the bags and all this stuff. It's
You
like,
should talk about that.
yeah, you should talk about it. It's like I can't talk because I wasn't there. You know,
Yeah.
there's no way I can make that up. It'll be like it will look, you know, just be bogus the way I said. It just be horrible.
Yeah.
You know, like. I gotta be there. I have to lose my bag. I have to go
Yeah,
through the
exactly.
whole thing because it is my point of view, and I'm not. I can't. And I think in order to say it, to keep it fresh, to keep a joke fresh, and to come out like you said it for the first time, that's where it has to be true.
Right.
Because it's like telling a story that happened to you when you were 5 or 10, that you fell off your bike the first time. You're gonna tell that story 10 times, and you're gonna tell it the same way the 10 times because it happened to you.
Yeah.
If it's something that's fake, by the 5th time you'll be like,
It's a different story.
yeah, and you're like tired of it. You're like, fuck this. So
Yeah.
you gotta make up this whole I stuttered.
No, I love that when people are like, oh, you should do that in your act. There's something that they happened to them. I'm like, what? In between when my girlfriend broke up with me?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like,
Where am I gonna put it?
When am I gonna put that in?
Yeah, where do I go? Where do I go put that? I went to Ibiza, because that's my sister. She's like, went to Ibiza and Saint Tropez. Yeah, when am I gonna put that? I'm not even going to fucking. I'm trying to go to fucking just like San Diego, and I'm gonna put that I went to Ibiza after San Diego. Yeah,
I went to Ibiza with Southwest.
yeah. Oh yeah. Free, free bags,
Yeah.
fly bag, whatever it is.
So you also did Jimmy Kimmel, like you've done a few sketches for him?
Yeah. I went in for this like CBS diversity thing, I think, and because of that, I got to like audition, or they call me in for like Jimmy Kimmel, for some sketches for Jimmy Kimmel, and now once I guess they keep you in a rotation. Once they like you, they keep bringing you back. So like, every few months they call me, to do sometimes little parts and sometimes big parts, so
That's
it's
so
pretty
awesome.
cool.
Yeah. The big one that I saw, and you can see it on YouTube, is if you type in Francisco Ramos Jimmy Kimmel Live, but it's the one where you're, it's a sort of like a Telemundo kind of soap opera, and you're talking to like Obama, and there's a bunch of characters, and you're like the evil guy.
Yeah. It was like
so funny.
It was when Obama met with some Latino, like, I don't know, association or something. And so they wanted to make like this whole Telemundo. Yeah. So I was playing like the guy who was killed, but he didn't get killed. All that stuff.
So funny.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, those guys. I mean, working with them, they're great. I mean, they're so loose.
Yeah.
And so relaxed. It's like
Do they let you like improvise a little bit? Like,
oh yeah. I mean, there
cool.
was the lines and stuff like that, but there was some stuff that I did that they kept that I improvised.
That's so awesome.
It's like shooting a sketch with your friends.
Yeah.
And that's the idea. I mean, they just have the best equipment to do it.
Right. Exactly. The huge crew.
Yeah. But it was great. I mean, and I love going there whenever they call me. Even doing little things or big things. It's just great to in that environment. You could tell how that's why the show is so successful, because it's so cool, so loose. It's like, it's great.
That's awesome. And you also did Marmaduke. That was another voice.
Yeah, that Marmaduke happened because that was when I got Rio, the saving casting director. He was also casting Marmaduke, which was like coming even before
George Lopez and
Owen Wilson, and so I went in to do a voice of a Chihuahua, and surprise. I was like, can I do the collie?
I hate being typecast.
Yeah. Can I do the poodle? No. You gotta have Chihuahua face. Look, what? Nah, but but that was just like a quick little line or couple of lines.
Yeah.
I was actually did it with Fluffy. That's where I met Fluffy
you did it with
the
Gabriel?
first time.
That's
Yeah, because
so
he
cool.
was there, so he did several. It was another thing too. Where it was like 3 guys and we're just riffing.
That's so cool. Man.
So that was great. Yeah.
To be in that room and see that.
Yeah. No, it was fun.
Crazy.
Yeah. No, he was great. So.
Yeah.
So that came out, and I did that. So that was like a little it was like a bonus thing from it, but it was great. The movie, it sucked. I don't want to be. Well, if the directors listen to this, it was pretty bad. Sorry. No, because I remember I went to see it.
It's a non-disclosure.
Yeah. I went to see it, and I was like, I remember I went to see it with Ian Edwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, we went to see it to the premiere. And I was like, what? I remember watching, thinking in my head, going like, this is...
You're just waiting for that moment.
And my thing came out, and I thought, like, of course, they cut stuff.
Yeah.
At that point,
you don't know how, like,
I didn't even know,
like,
they even would cut stuff. I was still so new at it. So I went in, and I go, like, I say one line, and that's it. And I look, I think I look at Ian going, like, fuck.
That was it?
It was like, yeah. And I was like, ugh. I was trying to impress him.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But
your pals with Ian Edwards?
Yeah. He's one of the first, I think, like the first comic at the Comedy Store that kind of talked to me, like,
really
cool, like.
He's such a funny guy.
Yeah, I know he's great. He's a great writer, great, funny, great friend, So yeah, we started talking, hanging out. He likes soccer, I like soccer.
Nice.
And also, just he helped me a lot too with comedy, in terms of like things to do, things not to do, writing. Give me ideas of it, because he just takes everything, and just comes comes from like left field. You're like, what the hell? How did you come up with that? But yeah, well, he's great.
What's your like writing process like? Do you write like pretty frequently or?
Yeah, I try to write almost every day. You
Yeah.
know, like even sometimes it might be half hour, sometimes maybe an hour. Sometimes
Wow.
Do
Do you go by time or like how many jokes you wrote or?
I try to go by time, and if I get more into if
The
I,
bit or whatever it
yeah,
is.
and then I let it go. Depending also on time. Whatever your schedule is for that day. Like try to keep it. To write during the morning. Which is better for me. But I just try to at least write. At least half an hour. Anything. And if I don't have any ideas, I try to come up, try to just go to the bits that are working, try to make them better, or bits that are okay and try to make them better, and then if I have a new bit, just try to work on that new bit, but I think that's the main thing. I think now that you were saying that 7 years, now I can be myself and I know how to deliver a joke and I know what my strengths are as a comic. Now the writing, I think, I just gotta get more and more writing. I think that's what's gonna, take you to the next level as a comic, and the writing.
No, at the club when I was the door guy there, I saw you like in May, and then I'd see you like every week or something like that. And then by the end of my time there, it was like August. And it was just like same kind of act, but it was like completely different. Like it was just so polished and like. In that much time,
Yeah. No, and that's why, like, I
was
think
just blown away. I was like, that's completely different. Like, there's only a few that I can remember. Like, maybe Byron Bowers also was like very polished in that short amount of time, but only like a couple of you guys. And I would always ask you, I was like, when are you gonna headline? When are you gonna do that? But
no, it's great. I mean, that club, Comedy Magic Club, has just been so good to me. I mean, I'm really thankful for it, because it's helped me become more of a professional comic. I always have to say that. I think the Comedy Store helped me become a comic. And I think the Comedy and Magic Clubs helped me become more of a professional comic,
right?
And I think like it's just great. I mean, it's just go in front of normal crowds and see what works, see what doesn't, see what and
it's amazing
and just
to see,
to work
like,
a bit, and try to make it better and better and better
right.
and better. But yeah, I think it's like that's the cool thing about comedy. It's like you always get better. Yeah. I don't think you can if you keep working at it, you're always gonna get better. I don't think you stop. I don't think there's a ceiling. I think you can always get better because you can always come up with new stuff. You can always come up with different stuff. I mean, once you find that, I think that point of view that really defines you with your performance, then I think that's where you reach your ceiling. But then you can still get better because then you can talk about other stuff, But I think you got to get there and then see what happens after.
Yeah. Well, so you write every day, and you just said you went to La Jolla this past weekend.
Yeah,
and you tried out some new material.
Yeah, I worked there, new stuff. That's
do you like when you're writing? Are you at that point right now where you write something and you think it's funny, and you're like, oh, I know that's gonna be good.
It's fun. Yeah, I mean, there's some things that I write and then I think they're funny, like everything, and then you throw it out, and it's like,
That's just for me.
Yeah, or it's funny, but I guess you didn't. You didn't. I gotta work more at it. Like the prep. It's not an easy one, and there's ones where it's like you write them right, you say it the first time you say it, and you're like, okay, I know this is gonna work.
Yeah.
I know this is like, I just gotta make it. It's one of those ones that you're like, well, like I think it's like a gem, like finding a diamond.
Yeah.
You gotta, this is perfect.
Gold,
like, I just gotta say it more, basically, and you start adding a little more and polish it more. But right away, it's gonna work.
That's amazing. And like when you tried out your material this weekend, like went pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, there's there's a joke like that I know that it's like, okay, I know this one's gonna work, and then I had another one that it's a whole idea that I had before, but then I added this new thing about it, and it just makes it so much better to set up for. It just make the bit longer.
Yeah.
But it looks so much better. It's like it's more original too.
Right.
Because and it's one of those things that you're like, oh, why didn't I think about that before? It was right there, but like, so it's like it's just finding, and I think the more you write, that's where you start finding more how to write for you. Yeah. Because that's the thing. It's like once you have that point of view you define so much, then it's like so much easier to know how to write a joke for you. I know I can get this laugh right here, and I can get this laugh right here. Now if I do the act out here, it's gonna get a laugh, and that's one of the jokes that I came up with this weekend or that I worked. It was like, yeah, I know I do this. If I do the act out, it's gonna get the laugh, and I did it, and it got the laughs, So it's like,
I think that's so cool. Yeah, like you just you get to a point where you're like, oh yeah, like this, I know this is good.
Yeah.
And I know that, you know, this needs more work or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, so like, I have no idea, like, just as a general, like, what do comics do, or like, what do you do specifically? Like, when you're trying out something new, will you open with some of the stuff that you know is good right away, and then like sort of keep it in there somewhere?
It depends on the show that I'm doing, you know, like.
Would you like nobody opens with new material or closes with new material?
No,
right?
no, I did it yesterday.
Oh really? Okay.
At the comedy store, but it was more of a later show. It wasn't like new material, but it was a real like that bit that I been working, and it was like the first time it was just new. It was the first time, just the first part of it was all new material. So it depends on the show, I think.
You
like
get a feel for the crowd, kind of.
Yeah, like that show. I mean, it was a late spot at the comedy store. Like, you know, that's the whole point of that. It's just to work stuff out. So like, I'm not gonna be working on or doing new stuff or stuff that I know that works already.
Right.
So it depends. But if I'm gonna go do a spot, for example, at the Comedy Magic Club, at the 10-minute, you know, 10 comics for 10 nights, you know, I'm following. You know, I got 8 minutes.
I'm not gonna polish up.
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
And then doesn't mean I could throw it out there, but I definitely I would throw it in the middle. You know, I already start with something I know that works, then put it in the middle, and then kind of like sandwich it in.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't
bury
work,
it in there somewhere.
Because I know, and that's what I'm gonna do when I do it on Wednesday. I'm gonna try these new jokes. I'm gonna put them right there, like in the middle, and I can always like. I know now that like if I throw it out there, and then I'm gonna get the crowd back with this other joke.
Right.
If it doesn't do as well or whatever, you know. But I think you have to, as a comic, you have to take those chances. You have to like, because if not, then it just gets. What's the point? You know, and you're not getting better. You gotta take risks. You gotta go like, well, you know, you just gotta go with it. You know,
it's a big like balancing act, kind of. You want to like make sure.
Yeah, because you want to go.
You have that joke that you know is gonna work in your back pocket just in case.
Just in case, yeah. You want to be good. You want to. It's like. I mean, I always compare stand-up to like getting girls, you know. It's like, you know, if you're gonna like, hey man, I'm gonna try to risk it here to see if I can get some ass, but if it doesn't, then I'm just playing, you know? Let's just have some ice cream, whatever, you know. But then you try it out, you know. You gotta have the ice cream, right, just in the back pocket, just in case the whole like, oh, you wanna suck my dick? It didn't work.
Going for a kiss, she leans back.
Yeah.
I'm gay.
yeah. What are you talking about?
I was just kidding. So you also went to Afghanistan, I read. In your biography. When was that?
A couple of years ago.
And you went to entertain the troops over there?
Yeah. We went to Kyrgyzstan, which is the main base, and then Afghanistan. We went to all the several bases that they had. It was me and Byron Bowers, and other comics.
That's so cool. And like, what was that experience? You just flew over? And
it was.
Was it like a week, kind of?
It was like two weeks.
2 weeks?
I think it was like 2.5 weeks because we actually got delayed. We couldn't leave. I think like when we were gonna leave, they didn't pay for the tickets. So then we had. So it's not like they have too many.
It was a one-way.
Yeah, it's like I'd be I was like, guys, you're going one way. You're not coming back. Fuck. No, but then they didn't have the tickets, and then it wasn't like they're having too many flights back to the U.S. and Kyrgyzstan. So it's like we had to wait there for like 3 days to go back. You know, after we've been
there. Did you just keep working or kind of like sightseeing?
No, that one it was like we stay on the main base, and it felt like prison. You know, because I would stay in my little dorm, and then I would go to the mess hall, which is where you eat, and it was like eat by yourself, and then go try to play some video games, and then walk around, but there's nowhere to do. I was like, God damn, it was like a little prison. But the whole experience was great. I mean, it was fun to you know, see those new. I mean, I've never been there before.
Right.
You know, just meet all the army guys and everything, because they are very appreciative of like just going there. I mean, they really like enjoy the shows. Even after the shows, they were like, man, thank you for coming, because all those 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks that I was there, I see how like, you know, how monotonous it is. It's the same thing all the time, you know. It's like, and they don't have, so it's like for them to at least
you're bringing a piece of home.
Take an hour just to forget that they're in a base, you know, stuff like that. It was great to see that, and also just to experience the life of you know, being in the army. You know, I never been in the army or never done anything like that. Just to you know, at least see it through their eyes and see it. It's like, okay, it was like, wow, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's a thing for me. I don't know if I could be there. It's just too much of the same thing where I go like, all right, fuck it, I gotta do something else. But
that's great, man. Though, like, to see that must be incredible, and to meet those guys, like.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, and we did some cool stuff too. We flew the helicopters, the Black Hawks and stuff like that, like at night. One time we had to go to a base, so it was like at 3 a.m. It was like an action movie, it's like. I remember me and Byron going like, go, 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 go. We get in the car, and then we have to do signs because we can't hear anything. Yeah, it was great. We almost got shut down once.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, it was like
over where in Kurdistan?
Well, we're going to Afghanistan. Well, I mean, they say that they just threw some flares for the hell of it. But later when I got here, I heard that they don't shoot flares just because they're gonna shoot. They shoot flares because something.
They're trying to shoot you down.
Yeah,
they're not gonna give away their location.
Yeah, because we were in a plane and we were going to another base, and it was like me and the comics, and then there were some. Other soldiers there. So and like when you're traveling those planes, it's not like when you're going Southwest. You're fucking sitting like crap. Like it's all dark. And it was at night. And then all of a sudden, we hear some explosions while we're flying, like, bah! And even the guys who were like the soldiers, they grabbed their guns and they had this look of like. Jesus. So after that, I'm going like, fuck, I'm dead. That's it. We're going down. We're fucking go. Yeah, I was fucking. I remember me and another comic were like just scared as hell.
Yeah.
And Byron, Byron being Byron, like laughing. I was like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Doesn't realize the severity.
Yeah,
of the situation.
yeah. He's just like whatever, man. And remember, we talked to this guy, and like the soldier who was next to us, he was also very calm too. It's like, hey man, are you not worried? He's like, no, like if we die, we die, whatever. Because you could tell that was his third or fourth already tour. So like, and I realized you gotta be like that, in order to be in the to do that. Because if it was for me, I'm freaking out. If somebody tells me, hey, do this, do that, I'm freaking out. I can't do it. You gotta be like, so calm when those stuff happens.
No, you gotta love those guys. Like.
Yeah.
No, I don't think.
It's amazing.
Comics could go and do.
No, it's amazing. I mean, you get I give it up to those guys. It's so nice that
you guys, did that. And
yeah, no, it was great. Cool. It was great. It was great. I wish, I want to do it again, but I definitely don't want to go back to. I want to go to Japan or Bahamas or somewhere like that, or like Italy.
Leave,
yeah,
where
go
I can, outside.
Yes, because that's another thing. We only did bases. We never met. We never
safe.
see anything of the country or anything like that. No, it was just all bases.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's nice to hear that they were like really appreciative to. I mean, like that.
Yeah,
that would be the nightmare, right? You go all the way over there and then you get heckled.
I know, right? It's like
it was better than we didn't want anything anyways. Just get
start shooting the guns. What the hell are you doing, guys? You suck. It's like, god damn.
That would be the ultimate.
I know, right? I'd be like, okay, but it's like this guy's. It's like stay there for 2 weeks and everyone's just booing you and stuff like that. It's like, god. And that's another thing too. You can't even get girls there too. Like there's not that whole thing of like
they're working. That's
they're
their
working.
job.
So it's like they're all pissed. They're like, man, they're booing, and they're also like they're just pissed that they're not getting laid. Like,
so all the comics when they go off, they're not hanging around. They just go straight to their dorms after.
No, we will hang. Like
not trying to get girls like at the back of the bar.
No, everybody. I mean, that's the whole thing. You can't talk. You can't like. I think like the male and females can mix with each other. Of course, it happens, but it's like. But it's funny because I feel like if you're a woman and you have like low self-esteem, like go to any army base, like in Afghan everywhere. I mean, because as soon as you get there, all the guys are like, yeah. It doesn't matter who you are. So that's gonna give you a lot of self-esteem if you're a girl that needs to,
Well, let's hope they don't have to go to that length. But
if that happens, you never know. I think that would be a great reality show. Yeah, just have 5 girls that have low self-esteem, like
MTV meets MASH, just something like that.
Yeah, I'm 44. I'm here, like.
You should pitch that. It's a good idea for sure.
I know, right? Just saying. What is that show called before?
Next.
Next in Afghanistan. I'm here like woo.
Or the Real Housewives of like Kabul. Like just.
Funny.
I don't know if I could ask you about this. There's something that you're working on that's coming out It's a pilot for TBS.
Oh yeah,
show.
I think
It's cool to talk about.
Yeah, I think it's out. I mean, it's not out. It's gonna come out next year. I mean,
So that's a show that Steve Carell and his wife wrote.
yeah,
With Rashida Jones.
Rashida
as the
Jones is the
lead.
Yeah,
Wow.
Tribeca.
So Tribeca for TBS.
for TBS. Yeah,
It's an
So-
original series.
Yeah, it's an original series. I think I was in the pilot. I mean, I had a small part on it, but that was great too. I mean, it was just
That's
awesome.
so cool. Yeah.
Working with, just meeting Steve Carell. It's funny. It's like the same thing. You meet them. First of all, you go like, okay, this is the same guy that you see on TV.
Yeah.
So it's like now
40-year-old virgin.
That's when you realize you're like this. It's like acting is just being yourself.
Right.
It's just being yourself in that situation because it's like they're not doing anything different. But then also see how nice. I mean, he was very cool, stuff like that. And then the wife too was very cool.
Yeah.
And then just doing the whole table read thing. It's funny because you're doing the table read and I only had like one line, So it starts and like all the executives are there and everybody's there and you're just waiting for your line to come and you don't want to fuck it. Yeah. And you don't want to fuck it up because it's like they could just go like, no, let's just cut that line. So I'm going like, God, hopefully after I left the table read, I was like waiting, look at my phone for like 2 hours to see if they're gonna go like, you know what, we don't need you anymore. But then we, and that's another thing. Then we shot it and it was very cool too. But that's another thing too. It's like I'm glad that I had some experience already of shooting stuff.
Yeah.
Because you go to those things and you gotta know what the hell you're doing. Because if you don't know, it's like they could fire you right there,
Yeah.
or they could just I went there, and they're like, all right, good, you're gonna do this, whatever, they didn't even tell you like, you're just because also you're not like the main lead, you're just basically, and that's the thing, you have to know who you are in terms of like what character you're playing, whatever. Like I'm just facilitating the scene,
Right.
I'm not doing anything else. So like you go in there, you gotta do your thing. Nobody's gonna be like, all right, this is it's not gonna come
10 more times.
yeah. It's just so I went in. Funny because I did it. I went in, and like they didn't even tell me like where to stand. I was like, where do I go? Like I had to like ask the AD. I'm like, hey man, what? And then I did it, and then like I remember like Steve Carell came up to me and like, because when I auditioned for it, I did some weird accent, not even my accent, like some weird accent when I did the line. And then when Steve Carell came up to me when we did it, we shot it a couple of times. After that, he came up to me like, "Hey man, do you let's just do the line without the accent, because it's a serious thing."
Yeah.
And I remember I'm like, okay, and then I remember thinking right there, going like, does he know that I have an accent? Because it's just gonna suck that I do it with like my normal voice, and he's like, I told her not to do it with the accent. I'm like, this is me, fuck. So no, but we did it, and it was it was cool. It was me. The scene was me with Rashida Jones, and then the Hayes MacArthur was the other guy, and then Gary Cole, which is really funny too.
That's
So
cool, yeah.
it was great just to see how, just again another thing, just another experience, just to see how they work, just to see how it is. They just come in, they're prepared, like nobody. That's why, and that's another thing too. It's like that's why as the newbie or the new guy, you come in. You don't want to be screwing your one stupid line when these guys are just going blah, 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 like some.
Yeah.
But of course, it's the experience. That's where experience comes. They've been doing it for so long, It's like
That's amazing,
easy.
though, yeah.
But it was great, yeah. So I'm looking forward to see.
When is that coming out? In the fall?
No, I think it's coming out next year.
Next year?
I think
Okay.
Spring of next year or something. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll definitely, hopefully, definitely looking forward to see. I saw there's a trailer online.
Okay.
Of the pilot,
check that out, yeah.
But it's funny. It's a funny script or funny pilot. What it's like a very like Naked Gun.
Oh, okay.
Like comedy. Like very like silly slapstick humor. But funny. Just it's funny.
That's awesome.
And
yeah.
Dion Cole's in it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I think in the pilot, what's her name? Lisa Kudrow's in it.
Wow.
Alfred Molina's in it.
That's an amazing cast.
They have a good, it's like, and Steve Carell's in it,
He's in it too.
Well, he's
okay.
not in it. He's directed it.
Directing it,
just
yeah.
putting his name out there.
That's so awesome.
So yeah. So I'm
Congrats
looking
on
for. Yeah. I mean, this one was. Of course, I'm very proud of it, but that's another thing. Like, another thing for the resume because it's
Right.
like, I don't want to, like, I'm not gonna be like promoting this, because that's the worst thing that I don't like when people do that crap, or like
Promote your one
promote
line.
like promote your one line. Come see, and they go, my show. It's not your show. This is Steve Carell's show.
Yeah, come see me do this
It's like
thing.
I'll just use it when it comes out, and as a credit, that's it. You know, hey, okay, you can see him, or he was whatever. But it's one of those things that, like, I'm not gonna,
That's the one thing I
send
love
emails
about you
to
is
people,
your
you know.
modesty, but I also hate it too, because I'm like, man, just come up and, like, like,
Yeah,
you can do
no,
it.
I no, and that's another thing, and that's what I, in a way, struggle with, of like having that line of like, being proud of it, owning that you can do stuff, but also be humble.
No, you're a very humble guy. Like,
and
all the time.
Yeah, I don't, because again, it is if it was like, I'm promoting, for example, I'm headlining, on Wednesday at the Comedy Magic Club, or co-headlining with Tony, and like, but I'm promoting that, stuff like that. Where I am like, okay, if people come up to see me, at least like I'm the show, or I'm so, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why am I gonna promote stuff that's like, hey guys, catch me, or whatever? Like, I'm not gonna, or if I do it, I'm like, hey guys, just be real about it. Like, hey,
Right.
this show's gonna premiere tonight. I'll have one line. Well, whatever. Just make fun of it in a way, and like, just put it out there. But I think the best thing to me is when people come up to you, and say, hey, Ari, I saw you in this commercial, or I saw you doing this thing. Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the best thing.
Don't force it.
Like, the best thing is when people that come up to you and give you the compliment, without you pushing it,
No, I remember, like, even when I would tell you all the time in the parking lot at the Comic Con, I go, Francisco, when are you going to headline? Like, when? And I'll never forget. You're like, well, whenever, they need me, or whenever they ask me. I'm not going to, go and ask to do that. And I was like, wow, this guy is really humble, and like,
no, and I think it's like, because
you're ready, but no
you're ready.
doubt,
Also,
you're ready
they
to go.
You're ready to, and also like headlining. It's easy to headline. I think it's easy. It's hard when people to say like you're headlining and people are coming to see you. That's where like I want to be. That's where and that's, to me, that's really headlining.
Yeah.
Because anybody can just go up. I mean, as a comic, you've done it for a while. If you've done it for a while and you have enough material, you can headline any show.
Yeah.
But to be a true headliner is when, people, it gets sell out because people are coming to see you.
Yeah.
Like a Sebastian, or like a Bill Burr, or, that's, to me, that's real, that's true. And that takes a while,
Yeah.
to build a fan base, to get people to know you, stuff like that. That's what I want to get to. To me, that's truly headliner. I mean, I'm not gonna put down that I'm headlining at the Comedy Magic Club or whatever, because people are coming to see me and stuff like that. But talking about like where it goes, like in that level, I think you always have to, aim high.
Exactly.
But
it's a different reaction from the crowd when you walk out.
Oh,
The look on their face,
completely.
when they're waiting to see you.
Completely. I mean, it's like, I think the best feeling that I got of knowing how that feels, and hopefully I can reach that level, is when I was hosting at the Comedy Magic Club and I had to introduce Jerry Seinfeld.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
I mean, just to say the name Jerry Seinfeld and then just feel that wave of energy and like people just going crazy.
They stand up, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's where that's what I want to get to.
Yeah.
That's really when they hear that name and they know, like that. Same thing with Arsenio Hall.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like that feeling of like, wow, like this, yeah, it just goes, they go crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it won't be too long, I don't think, before.
Well, hopefully.
Some kid will say Francisco's. I can't believe I said Francisco.
Yeah, it'd be like the Elf movie. Francisca.
Well, a couple more questions
Sure.
before we leave. Who are like some of your main influences in comedy? Like, who was like the first person you saw, or like a movie or something? That was
Well,
like,
I mean, there's actually.
I can do that.
Yeah, when I was in Venezuela, there's this comic, this big comic called Emilio Lovera, or I'll say it in English, in American accent, Emilio Lovera. But he's great. He's been one of the best comics in Venezuela, I think, history of Venezuela, and he was in this show kind of like an SNL in Venezuela, you know, like they would, you know, every Monday people, you know, it was like the thing that people, you know, look forward to watch, because they would make fun of all the, you know, what was going on in the government, you know, like just like SNL,
right?
You know, and have characters. So this guy was there. I remember watching that and like going like, man, I love that. I would love to do that, or I just enjoy it so much. So that was definitely one, like the first kind of guy, and it's cool too because I got to meet him personally. Last week he actually came to perform in LA in front of like bunch of Venezuelan crowds, and I got to hang out with him.
That's so
you know,
cool.
so it was great to like you know meet him, you know, and it's cool because it was more of a meeting not as a fan, but more of as a peer, because he knows that I do comedy here and stuff like that. So it was more like that. That's
cool.
the even cooler part.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like we could work together in a way, you know, kind of thing. But and then when I moved here and started watching, you know, TV here and stand up here, you know, definitely Seinfeld was, you know, huge for me. I loved the show, and then when I watched his stand up, loved it even more. And then and Dave Chappelle was, I mean, I think those are I just love how Dave Chappelle uses his how natural he is when he just talking and just saying the premise, but then how he also uses his performance or his act outs to complement what he's saying.
Yeah.
So I definitely drew from that too as well. And then when I moved to LA and started, you know, working at the Comedy Store, you know, definitely Sebastian Maniscalco was he's definitely, when I saw him first time and going up, I'm like, oh man, it's kind of like what I want to do.
Yeah,
you know,
he's one of the funniest comics out there.
I think it's stuff that it's the type of comedy that I like to do. You know, stuff that people can relate to. You know, I think the difference from his comedy, I'm more like, I guess I could, you know, I talk more about my life. He talks more about, like, you know, he's still his point of view, but he's talking more about stuff that he sees and people that can relate to and stuff like that. But I love, you know, that. And then also Ian Edwards, you know, just the way how he writes, you know, just the way how he thinks outside the box. Yeah. You know, that's one thing that I still see, and I'm like, man, it's so cool that how he just takes something that's normal and then all of a sudden just comes from somewhere else, but also makes sense in a way. Right. So
he's like, yeah, he'll when I see him like throw something out there, it's kind of like edgy, and the crowd just gets like quiet, and then he just his like point of view just makes everybody crack up.
Yeah, so and that's great too. Just having pushing the envelope, but at the same time, he has a meaning. You know, you're not pushing it just for the hell of it. Exactly. You have a real true idea or funny idea or point of view. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I share a lot of those.
Yeah,
Seinfeld and Chappelle and all those guys are great.
Yeah, I think that's it's just I just gotta find the guys that can that you can relate to in a way. I'm like, oh, you know, and that doesn't mean, you know, just find your own point of view and stuff like that. But it is like everything. It's like music, you know, like, you know, whatever somebody like the Beatles.
Everybody listens to the Beatles.
Yeah, or Jimi Hendrix or whatever, or like rappers that influence other rappers. You know, it's like it's finding that and then finding your own thing. But it comes from, you know. Yeah.
That's awesome. Worst you ever bombed?
It was at the Haha.
At the Haha here? Oh, okay.
Ha Cafe.
Like pretty close.
Yeah. It was in North Hollywood, and I remember
that was like
recently
or far,
no, that was when I started.
Yeah.
You know, like I guess like 1 or 2 years into it, like 1 year into it or something like that. And then I remember going there and even the owner, Terry or Jack, they didn't even knew me. I don't know how I got into the show. I forgot, you know. But like I went up, and I remember I did my first bit. I don't even know what it was, but it didn't hit. But it was silent, completely silent. And then again, I did it again, silent, and then it's just silent. Nothing, not even like courtesy laughs, just complete silent. I remember then seeing the owner, Terry, just flashing the light so I could get up, and I think I was doing 5 minutes. Yeah, I think it's just flashing the light at 4 minutes or 3 minutes. So then I got out, and I'm like, and you know, like as a comic, when you bomb and you bomb bad like that, you know, like you don't. comics never come up to you and say you stink or you bum, but they don't talk to you. They don't see you. It's like you have leprosy. So it's like
stay away from me.
And that's the worst thing,
luck.
because as a comic, you want to go like that's the time where you want somebody to go like, that crowd sucked, or
Yeah.
like, just give you something, but nobody says anything to you, and you're like, yeah. So I just remember like, I just got out of there. I mean, and I remember having that walk of shame to your car, just going like, what the hell, but then I remember I was like, I gotta get up. So the next day I got up and it was fine. And then after that I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it was, I think that's the worst bomb, like in terms of, because I have bad shows, or like, I didn't connect with the crowd or something, but it wasn't like, but that was like the only time where I was like, I didn't get any laughs at all, But it was, I think you need, as a comic, you need those things, especially when you're starting, so you can, because you can get cocky, you can, especially if you start doing shows, the same shows all the time, and you start knowing the crowd or knowing what to make fun of or whatever, then you get and then if you do another show and then you keep doing the same thing, then you bomb, so it's good to have that, to be able to do, that's why I think that's a big thing as a comic, do as many shows as you can, whatever shows they are, could be any rooms or whatever, because the good comic can do any show. Yeah. I think if you're a comic and you can only do one type of show where the crowd is just completely, not doing anything, whatever, no, then you're not a comic. If you're a comic, you can do any show. And I'm talking about like private gigs, weddings, whatever it is, birthdays, if they hire you and you're a good comic, you can do it,
I saw actually Jay Leno, like maybe a couple weeks ago, I saw his name he was doing a Mo Better Monday show at the Improv.
Really?
And I'm like, well, that's a complete flip from Hermosa Beach, like, so I wonder how that went, but he's a real comic. You gotta give it to him. He's playing everywhere. So
so what's wrong with this Little Wayne?
Did you see anything in the newspaper the other day?
That's a perfect example right there.
Yeah.
I mean, and you could tell that's why he is where he is.
Right.
Because he could be just, traveling, playing golf right now, not doing anything. What is he doing? He's going to,
Yeah, he doesn't have to play any of those clubs.
No, but he's doing it because he wants to get better.
Yeah.
He's a good, and that's why he is where he is.
Great guy, yeah. And last question, if this is a very big hypothetical, but like in a dream scenario, if a studio said, here's, $1 million today, what would you do? Would you make a movie? Would you do a TV show? What's your like dream job in like 10 years from now? Where do you see yourself? If you had to predict your own success.
Wait, so the $1 million question, or what do I want to be, or what do I want to be? Like, what's the question?
Where do you see yourself like in 10 years? Like, what would be your dream? Do you want to still do stand up, or do you want to go into like movies and TV?
My dream would be to be doing a successful TV show, or being a successful movie, or just be great, and then at the same time still do stand up, and get to the point where I have enough of a name where I can start producing stuff, and then helping guys or new guys and stuff like that, and that's what I want to do. That's definitely get to the level where I can definitely be, where my name can help a young and comic or if I have an idea that I really believe in, that I can definitely push it, somewhere, so that's what I want to do.
That's
awesome, that's
man.
definitely that's definitely my, I see this guys like Mark Wahlberg or Matt Damon or even Brad Pitt or Leo, how they they use her, how much stuff they produce that we don't know, or stuff like that. They have their own companies, or even Adam Sandler, another one.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that.
You brought everybody up with them.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about it. Like, I think if I get, and I think it's like my dream is to be a successful comic actor. Like, I don't have to be famous. If I get to that point where I'm a successful comic actor, that'll be, that's a dream come true. If it gets to the other level, to me, that's a bonus. Yeah. If it happens, great, But if I can just be a successful comic actor, that's that's the dream. That's what I wanted to do. You know, that's be able to live a good life and do what I like to do.
It's really cool, man. That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, that pretty much wraps it up. Let's plug some shows this week. You're playing
Yeah, so I'll be going, I don't know when is this coming out.
Wednesday, Comedy Magic.
Yeah, so I'll be there Wednesday at the Comedy Magic Club, 8 p.m. I'm
8 p.m.
co-headlining with Tony Baker.
Hilarious.
Yeah, he's hilarious, and so that'll be a fun show.
Awesome.
And then I'm gonna be in Vegas the week of the September 8th through the 14th.
Nice.
With no, that's gonna be I'm gonna be featuring for Ahmed.
Oh, wow.
No, that'll be great.
Where at?
That's gonna be I think it's the Tropicana, the Laugh Factory.
The Laugh Factory, the Tropicana.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I'm also gonna be doing shows throughout the fall in colleges and stuff like that.
Awesome.
You know, like going to go to Miami, you know, FIU. That'll be fun. And
Nice. Yeah.
And then gonna do other colleges as well. So you can follow me at F Ramos Comedy. That's my Twitter and Instagram. That's where I put most of my stuff, as well as my website is franciscoeramos.com. And
Definitely follow him on Instagram and Twitter. A lot of funny stuff, and got some good videos and vines, and
trying to keep doing the same thing. Just trying to think creatively.
Yeah.
Every day. But yeah, that's where I put all my stuff. So yeah, follow me there, and hopefully I get to see you guys at the shows.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking today. Thank you very much.
No, man. Thanks for having me. That was great.
I had a great time.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Catch you later.